Former Motherwell striker Kevin Van Veen could be set for a sensational return to Scottish football, but the only question is, which team will he sign for? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Kevin Van Veen, that is a name that we all know. That is a guy that was scoring a shitload of goals last season in the league. He was terrorising defences, and he played a huge part in Motherwell's revival in the second half of the season. Basically, you give this guy the ball and he would put it in the back of the net. And there was a lot of speculation that he could be getting a big move. And in the end, he did get a big move. He went to Groningen in the Dutch league. However, it's not worked out for him. And after a falling out with the manager and him about to become a father, he is looking for a return back to the UK and back to Scottish football. But the big question is, where's he going to end up? Which club would want him? Well, of course, he has spoken about his former club, Motherwell, but he's also spoken about another club that he claims was interested in him before his big move to Holland, and that is Glasgow Rangers. So Van Veen was speaking about his girlfriend, about the fact he's becoming a father. He said that he wants to move back to the UK. The move to Holland hasn't worked out for him. His girlfriend is expecting their first child in the next couple of weeks, and the travelling is becoming more difficult. So I'm assuming that his girlfriend is staying in the UK. He's having to travel back and forward between the UK and Holland, and he just wants to move back to the mainland. Now, of course, it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. I certainly don't think it's because of the quality. I think Van Veen is definitely good enough to play at Groningen. I just believe that him and the manager is not getting along. And a lot of times, once you follow the manager, somebody has to go. And if it's not going to be the manager, then it's probably going to be the player. And in this case, it looks like it's going to be the player, because Van Veen has pretty much been open about this. He's not trying to do anything behind somebody's back. He's not trying to sneak a move out. He's basically saying that he wants to move back to Scotland. He's been fully transparent about the whole thing. He wants to leave. Now, the question is, can he leave? How much would it cost for him to leave? And could Motherwell possibly afford this? Now, he did say, quote, "Of course I would listen to Motherwell because I had a successful time there. But last season, my agent told me there was definitely interest in me from Rangers, though at my age, I maybe don't fit their profile." End of quote. Now, he did mention a lot of stuff about family, but we're not really here to talk about that. We're more here to talk about where he could potentially end up. Now, he did say that he was very happy in Scotland. He would never rule out a return there. He's looking for a return. He's scored 5 goals in 10 starts for Groningen, which is pretty good. You know, 1 goal in every 2 games. It's not a bad return for a striker at all. But he's looking to return to Scotland. I don't think Motherwell are going to be able to afford him. He's 32. Motherwell sold him for 500k, half a mil. How much would Groningen want? How much would they want to recoup if they did sell him? I would say, unfortunately for Motherwell, more than they'd be willing to pay, and potentially more than they'd even be able to afford to pay. So I just don't see a return to Motherwell in the near future. I mean, could Van Veen end back up at Motherwell? 100%, but it would be at the end of the contract. It's not going to be because Motherwell buy him back. That's not going to happen, especially, I mean, not this early, not even, 6 months? He's about, 4 or 5 months into his deal. Motherwell ain't going to stump up the kind of money that Groningen would be looking for in January. So a return to Motherwell in January is not happening for Kevin Van Veen. But maybe a move to Rangers could be happening, because Rangers have signed a bunch of duds up front this season. I think we're still unsure on Danilo. He definitely looks the best out of a bad bunch, but Lammers and Dessers, 2 players that look fucking shite, 2 players that couldn't they score a goal if you sat them on the goal line and gave them an open net. So I think that Kevin Van Veen has proven he can score in Scotland. He's got a very good goal scoring record in Scotland. And you know what? Yeah, he might be 32. Maybe he doesn't necessarily fit Rangers' profile. But just as a January signing, I don't think it'd be the worst signing for Rangers. I think he would definitely be ahead of Lammers. He'd definitely be ahead of Dessers. He's a guy that guarantees you goals. He can score. And at 32, yeah, he's probably coming towards the end of his career, especially as a striker. He will lose pace. Not that pace is ever his strong point, but he will begin to slow down. But let's not pretend that at 32 you have nothing to offer. In terms of goal scorers, and Kevin Van Veen as a goal scorer, you can well play into your late 30s and still have quality. You look at some of the best strikers of all time, and they've played up until they were old, they were 36, 37, 38. You look at Kenny Miller, Chris Boyd, two great players in recent years for Rangers. They all played in football until they were, pretty much near their 40s. So I think Kevin Van Veen could definitely have a few good years at Rangers. It just depends whether or not Rangers want him. Now, they did want him, apparently, according to Kevin, before his move to Holland. Would they still want him now? That remains to be seen. But I would say, based on the options they have right now, I would say yes. Because last season, they had Morelos, they had Roof, they had Sakala, they had Sholak. You look at Rangers up front this season, they're worse than they were last season. So for me, it's a no-brainer. If Kevin Van Veen's available, and if Rangers can get him on the cheap, which I think they can. I mean, 500k, I don't even think they need to pay that amount, but let's say they did. 500k for Rangers isn't exactly breaking the bank. For Motherwell, it would be breaking the bank. They need to rob a bank. But for Rangers, they could afford to pay that, and you're getting a guy that can offer you a couple of seasons of goals. And even if he's not a regular, even if he's not a first team player, even if he's not starting every game, it would just be good for Rangers to have even a second, third or even fourth choice striker that they can rely on, that they can bring on, that they can maybe rotate in cup games and whatnot, and they can trust to put the ball in the back of the net. So for me, I think it's a good signing for Rangers if, of course, they want him. Kevin Van Veen wants a return. So it makes sense. Rangers wanted him last season. Kevin Van Veen wants to return this season. Looks like a good move to me, guys. Anyway, that's it. Let us know your thoughts down below. Being Fog Football. We'll catch you in the next one. Do you think this will happen? Do you think this is realistic? And do you think Kevin Van Veen would be a good fit for Glasgow Rangers? Let us know in the comments. I'll catch you in the next video. But until then, peace.